Oh, everybody. We are back. Dr. Kashey is here in your latest episode of. What is this episode of? Using big kid words and indoor voices. That's the episode, okay? Number 2 of our processed food educational series. Now, a little bit of recap. The last time we talked about my grandpa and grandma getting in fights because my grandpa just got foods that were filled with chemicals, which we have now defined as formulated foods. We have my grandma who just bought primary and secondary processed foods. These are foods that are ingredients rather than foods with ingredients. And then somewhere along the line, we're like, man, we should stop using the term processed food in daily language for people and probably switch that to junk food instead. I think it communicates a better way of getting the information we need across. And so and after I took the survey of all the definitions of processed food, which we went over last time, if you look back at those survey definitions for processed food, one of the most common explanations is that processed food doesn't rot, while fresh foods do. And at best, I think this is a misleading partial truth. Although I do admit a definitive characteristic of processed food is that it does last longer, it has a longer shelf life than fresh food does. Typically, fresh foods go bad pretty fast, so they gotta be either 1, consumed as soon as possible before they go bad, or 2, processed by the would-be consumer so it lasts longer. And 2 of the most common processing methods in the home are 1, cooking, and 2, refrigerating or freezing. I'll kind of lump those 2 things together because they do the same thing biochemically. Okay. Both of these methods, they drastically increase the shelf life of their initially fresh but now processed food. Something that lasts a day or 2 will now last a week or 2 easily, or now months or years even, okay? Just like thousands of % increase in longevity for the food stuff now after it's been processed appropriately. Likewise, processing food before it hits the shelf generally increases the shelf life, and that just means spoilage for the consumer now becomes an afterthought. Processing methods, they hit multiple birds with one stone by making foods more convenient to store and eat, by literally at the store or in your home or whatever. And they also can be formulated, which again sounds scary to the non-scientist, but it just means that it has more than one ingredient. And typically, those more than one ingredients are actually other foods that are coming together to make something edible, like my grandpa's canned chili, okay? Speaking of my grandpa, he can take that can of chili and he can open it up and just eat it at room temp or wherever it's stored, or he can process it further by heating it in the microwave, or if he's feeling frisky, he can process it in a pot over the stove. And that makes it fresh made chili, right? Or does it? See? Semantics matter. Words matter. Words matter. In either case, it's clear these processed foods save time and labor. Also, the fresh foods you get at the market are never as fresh as the average person thinks they are. I have an in-depth discussion about that posted already, and I'll stick a video down in the comments. But most every reasonable person considers the produce at the store fresh. Right, all the colorful fruits and vegetables and stuff. Which, as our previous discussion on processed food taught us, it's clear everybody agrees fresh is good. But it's also totally unclear what fresh means. And to give an example here, I'm gonna throw the beloved baby carrot under the bus. These bright orange health bullets are at every grocery store. You typically see them in like half-pound, all the way up to 3-pound bags, or greater. Some Mondo bags of baby carrots out there. And they're also commonly nestled in with the other fresh refrigerated produce. A regular person considers baby carrots fresh and healthy. They don't categorize them as junk or processed food. And surprisingly, a fair amount of people even think baby carrots are super young carrots. Mama Kashey and Mrs. Kashey were 2 of them. Interesting. Well, before these little nuggets hit the shelves at local grocers across the country, and possibly other countries, they were adult carrots. Going from the dirt to the store means these very adult carrots were put through a few rounds of primary processing before becoming Benjamin Button carrots. The adult carrots were pulled out of the ground. They had the greens chopped off. They were hurled onto a truck, transported to be processed at the processing facility where they were washed. They were disinfected with chlorine, Sounds scary, right? Good thing it's in all the drinking water keeping us alive. It was metabolically decelerated at 275 Kelvin, colloquially referred to as refrigeration. It was grated, and then it was sorted because, well, not every adult carrot is good enough to become a baby carrot. It was chopped into baby lengths. It was carved into baby circumferences. Then it was polished. Then they were weighed and measured. They were put into plastic packages, refrigerated again, packed in crates, put on a plane, truck, or Segway if you're hip, and then they were shipped all over creation. Now, I use carrots as an example because Americans know, like, and trust carrots. Americans also love baby creatures, so it's pretty much just a match made in heaven to talk about this stuff, and for that reason, nobody questions where they come from or how they got there. And perception is what makes it okay to buy baby carrots, a heavily processed food in a plastic package made by a megacorp. And perception is also why people are misguided and terrified by processed foods in plastic packages made by megacorps if they have more than one ingredient. And I genuinely hope this sparks a discussion about junk food versus processed food. Because when that happens, words like fresh come along for the ride. Because what the heck does fresh really mean anyway? Let me know in the comments what you think fresh means. We're going to discuss this a little bit more in the next video when we talk about the transition between, like, okay, if we think about what fresh is, then what the heck does not fresh mean? That'll be a ton of fun. Let me know if you learned something. If you thought that baby carrots were actually baby carrots, I think that's always fun to know. If you learned something, let me know. If you think someone else would benefit from this, make sure to let them know. Tell me if you like what you hear. If you want to learn anything else, make sure to, again, let me know. I don't know. Tell me. This is super awesome. I'll see you guys next time.